Wunderbar. Okie. You're going to stay there. Very good boy. Good evening. Still got a little while to wait, but I got here, set up pretty early today, so ready to go, no rushing this evening. Got all my chores done for the day. So I hope you're well. My cat's joined us this evening. He's on my blanket by the radiator, and I didn't have the heart to get him out of the room. So we'll see if he lasts the full hour. If he wants to get out, then I might have to leave my mat just to let him out. But he looks pretty comfortable there at the moment. Right, so I hope you're all well. I hope you're coping with the current situation as well as we can. And this evening's class is going to be a really nice, gentle yoga class just to get us ready for the weekend, release all the tension from our bodies that we've collected over the week so far. And I've made it focused on the shoulders and the hips, which I've done quite a lot during these online classes, because I think these are the areas that we need the most work on in general. And of course, at the moment, with us all being a bit more homebound, sitting a lot more than we probably would. And yeah, so it's going to be some nice hip openers, nice shoulder openers, and it's going to be very gentle. So some of it's going to be flowy. So we're going to flow from one posture to the other, but it's going to be very gentle. So you shouldn't build up too much of a sweat at all in today's class. So make sure that your heating is up or your fire is on, so you're nice and warm. And make sure you've got a blanket, or you don't have to have a blanket, but it's always good to have a blanket on standby for your Shavasana, so that you can really just get nice and toasty, nice and warm, and chill out for your Shavasana. Still got a couple of minutes. My watch is dying, which is always wonderful when you've just started a class. Luckily, I have my phone. It's a different time to my watch. Interesting. So yeah. So thank you all again for joining me in another live class. In fact, let me take my... There we go. Wonderful. So yeah, sorry about that, you guys. Welcome. Thank you for joining me. We're going to start in a comfortable seated position. If you have tight hips, as always, feel free to sit on a block, a bolster, a pillow, something like that, just to release a little bit of tension from the knees, from the ankles. And we'll just sit nice and tall. Bring our hands into Chin Mudra, tips of the forefinger and thumb touching, rest them on the knees. Let's close the eyes. And as always, just taking a moment to settle in. And just notice how your body feels this evening. As you're sitting here, is there any parts of the body that you're feeling particularly tight? Or is there any discomfort in your body right now? Any pain? And just see if you can relax the body completely. Just relaxing the shoulders, allowing the arms or the hands to be heavy on the legs. Softening the jaw. Maybe you want to give your jaw a wiggle. And softening the cheeks, the nose, behind the eyes. Soften the forehead. And just taking a moment now to notice maybe the emotional state of the body. Noticing how you're feeling this evening. Just acknowledging those feelings. And noticing the mind state. So is it quite busy? Or is it quite calm, quiet? When the head is full of thoughts, just acknowledging those thoughts. And just knowing that those thoughts aren't you. And we'll bring our focus to our natural breath. And as always, just noticing the quality of the breath now. Notice where the breath is in your body. Where do you feel the breath more? Is it in the chest? Is it the top of the lungs, into the shoulders? Is it in the abdomen? And let's begin to take control of the breath now. So just taking some nice deep inhales. Filling your abdomen. Bringing that breath up the body. Feeling the rib cage expand. And as you exhale, just letting go of any anxieties, any expectations. Just really being aware of that breath. Inhaling love and acceptance. Inhaling kindness and peace. Let's bring our hands into Anjali Mudra at our heart center. Taking an inhale. Exhale. Inhale for all. And exhale the hands back into Chin Mudra on top of the knees. And we'll take some breaths together. Take an inhale. Exhale. 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 And inhale, gently peeling the eyes open. We'll bring the hands onto the knees. So we're gonna start moving the spine now. So some cat-cows, but from a seated position. So as we inhale, let's move the heart forward, shoulders away from the ears, and draw the shoulder blades together. And as we exhale, round the spine, pelvis pulls under, around through the shoulders, chin comes into the chest. Inhale, moving the heart forward. Exhale, rounding through the spine. Inhale, moving forward, opening the heart. Lift the gaze if that feels good in the neck. Exhale, rounding. Tailbone tucks under, posterior pelvis. Inhale, anterior pelvis, heart moves forward. Lift the gaze. Exhale, round. Inhale, move forward. Exhale, round in the spine. Inhale, one more round. Exhale. And inhale, we'll come back to a neutral spine. So nice and tall through the spine, shoulders away from the ears. Draw the navel to the spine, lift your pelvic floor, and we'll start to move around the pelvis. Inhale as we move forward, opening through the chest. Exhale as we start to move backwards, rounding through the spine, hollowing through the chest. Inhale, moving forward. Exhale, rolling back. Inhale, moving forward. Exhale, rolling back. Let's change direction. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, really working from the hips. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And inhale, let's come back to a neutral spine. Let's take the arms out to a T And then bend the elbows 90 degrees for little cactus arms here. Take an inhale. As we exhale, just twist into the right. Inhale, coming through center. Exhale to the left. Inhale through center. Exhale to the right. Inhale through center. Exhale to the left. Inhale through center. Exhale to the right. Last one. Inhale through center. Exhale to the left. Inhale, come back through center. Take the arms forward. We're going to take the right arm across the body. Hook the left arm underneath the right. Just stretching out the shoulders. Let's turn our head to the right here. Just allow that right shoulder to fall down. Just making sure it's not up by the ears. The ear. Unless you've got two ears on the right side of your head. And inhale, come through center. Exhale, take those arms forward again. Left arm comes across the body. Hook the left arm, the right arm underneath the left arm. Again, just that nice, gentle shoulder stretch. And let's turn the head to the left. Nice deep breathing here. And looking forward, inhale. Exhale, release. Working into our hips a little bit here. Let's bring the right ankle in front of, right leg in front of the left leg. If you're tight in the hips, this is going to be more than enough for you. If you want a little bit more, you can come into firelog pose. So just stacking that right leg on top of the left. If it doesn't feel good, just take that right leg in front, or you can use blocks underneath your knees. If your knees are high like this, you can stack blocks underneath the knees just to make yourself comfortable. Inhale. As we exhale, let's fold forward. We can bring hands to the mat. We can be here, whatever feels good. And your body just working into the hip and feeling more of a stretch in the right hip here. And see if you can let go. See if you can release. No efforts in this class. Just want to try to relax as much as we can. A lot of the classes I've done this week have been quite strong. So just allow this to be a chance for you to just be where you are without effort. And I encourage you just to take a step back, especially if you like to push yourself a bit in your practice. And coming upright, inhale, exhale, let's spiral down towards that right foot, left knee. And again, maybe it's just a little bit, maybe we're just here. Nothing too crazy. Just breathing into your tension. Inhale, going into a twist. Let's bring the right hand onto the left knee, left hand behind the back, and twist, gazing over the shoulder. Inhale to find a little bit more length through your spine. Exhale to move into the twist a little bit more. Breathe into the upper back. Inhale, coming back through center. And exhale, release. Switching the legs. So the left leg is coming in front of the right leg, or you're stacking the joints, stacking the ankle on top of the knee on top of the ankle. And again, if you're floating a little bit, it's always good to use a block or a cushion. Or again, if this is too much, just take a normal cross-legged position. This is all good. But just make sure it's the left leg in front or on top. And again, we're just leaning forward. Again, you can be here just resting on your legs if this is enough for you. Or you're taking it deeper, reaching those hands forward. Again, just try to find relaxation. So we don't want pain. We don't want the jaw to be tensing up. Maybe one side is a little bit tighter than the other. Maybe my left side is always a little bit tighter than my right. And just breathe into that tension. I'll stay here a few more breaths. See if you can let go. And inhale, coming up. Exhale, spiraling down towards that right knee, left foot. And just a few breaths here. Notice how it changes the stretch in the hips. Maybe you feel it in a slightly different place now. Maybe it becomes more intense, maybe less intense. Inhale, spiral tall, left hand onto that right knee, right hand behind the back. And exhale, twisting and gazing over the right shoulder. Inhale, coming back to the front. Exhale, releasing. We're going to swing those legs around. Coming onto our knees to find puppy pose. If your shoulders are very tight, then maybe just take a child's pose. So knees together, sinking back into the heels, arms forward. You can come onto the fingertips if you want a little bit more in the shoulders. This is kind of in between child and our puppy. Otherwise, we can have knees together, slightly apart, or hips width apart. And we're just going to walk those hands forward and find a nice stretch to those shoulders. Forehead to the mat. If you're going well, chin comes to the mat. And if you've got a little bit more, maybe the chest comes to the mat. And just allow yourself to sink. And as you're here, just tuck the tailbone under slightly so that you're not sinking into the lower back, so that you're sending the stretch into those shoulders. And keep the navel to the spine and keep the pelvic floor on. And we'll walk the hands back towards us slightly. Let's tuck the toes under and we'll send the hips back and up, finding downward facing dog. Or maybe just pedaling through the legs here, pressing that right heel down, lifting the left, and then switching. Just to get a nice stretch through the backs of the legs. And the feet, hips width apart. And the navel drawn in.
And we'll drop the knees back to the mat. Moving the hands forward, dropping onto the elbows, and bringing the hips onto the mat. A nice little upper back opener as Sphinx pose. Let's move the elbows forward a little bit here. So the chest presses forward, the heart presses forward, and just feel lengthening through the front of the body, through the abs. At the same time, let's try to draw the shoulders away from the ears. If it's too much, take the elbows forward a little bit more, so more of the rib cage comes onto the mat. And then take an inhale. As you exhale, let's lower down. And we'll bring the hands by the chest and we'll press back and find our child's pose. So forehead to the mat. Knees can be together or hips width apart or as wide as your mat, whatever feels good for you, whatever your hips, your lower back is saying is right for you now. Remember, there is no perfect posture in yoga. No perfect way to do a posture. It's whatever feels good in your body in that moment. Always modify postures if they don't feel nice. And we'll lift the gaze. Let's come onto our knees. Let's make sure that those knees are hips width apart. We're going to tuck those toes under and sit back, coming into a little bit of a toe stretch here. Just bringing the hands onto the thighs. Just pressing down through the big toes. Again, a lot of us have been sat today, not doing much. There's a nice stretch for the bottom of the feet. It can be quite intense. If it's intense, just stay with your breath. Keep that breath going. Let's tuck our tailbone under slightly here as well. Drawing that navel in, finding your core. And as we inhale, let's reach our arms nice and high. And as we exhale, let's interlace the fingers behind the back. Draw the shoulder blades together and open the chest. Maybe lifting the gaze if that feels good. We take a nice shoulder stretch here. Opening through the chest, opening through the front of the shoulders, the arms. And maybe you could feel those feet starting to nag you. Saying, come on now, enough's enough. Let's get out of the posture. Let's stay with the breath. This is part of the yin yoga practice. The longer we're in it, the more the posture changes. Sometimes the more focus we need on that breath. Stay there. I'm going to be here just a few more breaths. If you can, hold in there. And releasing the hands. Let's come onto the hands. Nice and slowly pick those feet up. Point the toes. Maybe you want to give those ankles some rotations. Maybe you want to tap the feet.
Feels like the blood is out of the feet. And let's tuck those toes back under. And we'll move back. And we'll make our way into standing. So we want those feet, hips width apart still. Let's fall forward, subtle bend to the knees as we take our ragdoll. And just nod the head yes. Nice and big. Chin to the chest and all the way back. And nice and slowly shake the head now. Just releasing that neck. And just allow that head to hang heavy now. Just tipping the weight forward slightly into the balls of the feet as we lift through the hips. Stretching out the backs of the legs. Maybe you wish to sway. Just feeling that stretch through the side body. And releasing the arms, we'll bring the hands onto the backs of the calves. Hold the calves up towards the ceiling. And just drop the head down. Keep tipping that weight forward slightly into the balls of the feet. Just check that navel is still in towards your spine. Deep breathing. Bringing the hands onto the mat. Find extension through your spine, halfway lift. Maybe your halfway lift is here. Just find some length through your spine. And exhale, let's come back into a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Bringing the hands onto the mat, we're going to step that right foot forward. So the feet are still in line with your hips, but you've just stepped that right foot forward here. So just stretching through the back of that right leg. If there's a little bend in the knees, it's all good as long as you can feel that release to the back of the leg. You can use blocks either side of the body, either side of the leg if you wish, if that feels a little bit more comfortable. I always like students to try to keep the back as straight as you can, the chest open. In this way, we work into the hips a little bit more in this posture. Draw that right hip back. And trying to square the lower back off to the mat. Inhaling and exhale. We'll bend into the knees, drop that left knee to the mat to find a low lunge, the lazy low lunge. So with the right knee over the ankle, let's move that left knee back so we find that nice stretch through the front of that left hip. And again, we can be using blocks here, especially if you feel a little bit unbalanced in this posture. Use some blocks. Or we can be here, or we can be here on the knee, just working through those hips, sinking nice and low. And keeping those breaths going. Just checking on those shoulders, make sure they're nice and relaxed. And let's really start to stretch out this psoas muscle through the left hip. Bring the right hand onto the right thigh. Inhale the left arm high. And exhale, just lean out to the right.
Keep sinking the hips low. Again, the psoas muscle can get really tight and really weak if we sit a lot. Always good to give it a good stretch. Inhale, coming back through center. Exhale, release hands to the mat. We're going to bring this right foot back and hook it around the back of the left knee. So this is going to be like a floating cow face pose. So you might need to move that left foot out a little bit. I'll turn around so you can see what my legs are doing. So this is the Ashtanga cow face pose. So it's floated. We sit back. If this doesn't feel good in your hips, then you can stay forward here. This is all good. Otherwise, we're sitting back, bringing the hands onto the knees and just relaxing, stretching through the hips. Keeping that navel in. And moving forward, we'll release this left leg forward and sit back on that right heel. So coming into Janushasana B. So we want the anus directly on top of the heel. Again, if this doesn't feel good, have a wiggle around, or you can just bring that foot out so that the foot is on the inside of that left thigh. And we're just going to lean forward, just stretching through that left leg a little bit here. And continue to breathe nice and deeply. And moving the hands back towards the body. We'll lift up off of that heel, and now we're going to bring that right foot to the inner left thigh. So coming into a little bit of side flexion. The left hand scoops around to take the right knee. Open the chest up to the long side of the mat. Inhale, take the right arm on high. And exhale, just leaning over towards that left foot. As always, it doesn't matter if you take the foot or not. We just want to feel that nice stretch through your side body. Pulling on that right knee. See if you can open the chest up to the ceiling. And really reach with the fingertips. Even if we're up here, this is all good. Just keep driving that right sit bone down. Feeling that lengthening through the side body. Inhale, coming. And exhale. We're going to swing this right leg back now. Left leg back, sorry. Left leg comes back as we make our way into swan pose. So right heel by that left hip. And again, if you're working more into a pigeon, feel free to wiggle that right foot forward, taking that right knee a little bit wider. And using blocks underneath that right thigh, the right hip, to provide some support if you need it. You can stay upright here on your hands if you wish. Just work that left hip down, pull the right hip back, or we can stack those hands coming onto the elbows. Stay here a few more breaths. Breathing into those hips. And inhale, coming back onto the hands. We'll tuck the back toes under. We'll send the right foot back.
And let's lower down, knees going all the way onto our bellies. Top of the feet onto the mat. Take the hands behind the back and interlace the fingers. And inhale as we open the chest, reaching back, hands towards the feet. As we come into our snake pose. So press the tops of the feet down. You don't need to be lifting up too high here. You're just releasing the shoulders, just working into the upper back a little bit here. There's a lot of us have been hunched over a laptop all day. And release. Bringing the hands by the chest. Roll the shoulders back, draw the shoulder blades down the back, pull the elbows towards each other, and inhale, lifting up slightly. It's coming into baby cobra. We'll hold for 3, 2, 1. Releasing down. Let's tuck the toes under, pressing the hips back, rolling onto our feet, and finding a squat. Let's relax our squat here. So again, you can take the feet as wide as you need to, especially if the heels are lifted. See if taking the feet a little bit wider helps get those heels down. If it doesn't, no worries, you're just into the hands here. This is all good. And we're just going to sink. Relax completely. Sink in between those legs. And lifting the gaze. Let's come back up. Feet hips width apart and back into a forward fold. And again, you can take the hands onto the backs of the calves if that feels good. Or take in the big toes and pulling on those toes. You're just really working into releasing the upper back. And lifting the gaze. Inhale, find length through your spine. Exhale, fold. Inhale, find length. And exhale, let's step that left foot forward. Finding our pyramid on the left side. And again, you can use blocks here either side of the body. You have a chair, maybe you want to use a chair. And again, the feet are still hips width apart, but just staggered. Draw that left hip back. Open the chest. And again, if there's bends to the knees, it's all good. I'm just feeling that release through the back of the legs. I'll stay here a few more breaths. And let's bend into that left knee. We'll drop the right knee onto the mat and find a low lunge. And then left knee over the ankle this time. That right knee back to the point that feels good for you. You can keep the toes tucked under if you want, or top of the foot comes onto the mat. And again, we can be using blocks either side of us here for some stability. More hands are on that left leg. And we're just working through those hips. Soften the shoulders. Left hand onto that left thigh. Inhale, take the right arm high. And exhale, a little bit of side flexion as we work into the right savasana. Keep sinking those hips low. This can be quite intense. Again, don't take it too far. Just pull back a little bit. This is meant to be relaxing, so we're not going to go full effort here. Inhale, coming back to the center. Exhale, hands come to the mat. And we're going to bring that left foot back now. Hook it behind that right leg as we come into that floating cow face pose. So the knees, right knee in front of the left knee, and then we sink back. If it feels good, if it doesn't feel good to sink back, just stay here. If you feel anything around the knees, just coming out of the posture, it's really not worth it. And releasing. I'm going to take the right leg forward now and sit on that left heel. And taking that left knee out, so it's about 30 degrees from the right leg. And find length on your inhale. And as you exhale, maybe folding forward. And just feeling a little bit more of a release in that right leg. And keep breathing into that tension. Again, if this is too much, just bring that left foot to the inner right thigh. We're going to be there in a minute anyway. And walking the hands back towards the body. We'll come off of that heel and bring that left foot now to the inner right thigh. Let's open up. Right hand comes onto that left knee. Peel the body open, long side of the mat. Inhale the left arm high. And exhale, a little bit of that side flexion as we reach towards that right foot. And again, no worries if you don't take that right foot. That isn't the intention here. The intention is just to feel that release through the side body. And keep reaching through those fingertips to really increase that stretch. Keep pulling that left hip down. So trying to use that hip to create small space in the side of that body. And inhale, coming back. Exhale, let's swing that right leg around now. And we'll find our pigeon or our swan. So that left heel now by the right hip. Or again, and really trying to pull that right hip down. And again, if you're going well here, you can start to move that left foot forward into your pigeon. Or more towards your pigeon. Keep that left ankle flexed, remember, just to provide support for that left knee. And again, use bolsters underneath that left hip, the left thigh, if you need to. Cushion, bolster, block, whatever. And again, you can stay on your hands here. Just really working those hips around. Left hip draws back, right hip presses forward, and then we sink into those hips. Or you're coming onto your elbows, you're stacking your hands. Resting forehead onto your hands or on a block, or you can be on your elbows. Hands or thumbs on the forehead. Again, whatever feels comfortable for you in your body. Stay in a few more breaths. One more breath. And let's tuck the back toes under. We'll send that left foot back to meet the right. Let's come to the knees. If you have blocks, you can take your blocks here. If you're already very tight in the shoulders and just coming into a child's pose with the arms forward is enough, then just do that. Otherwise, we're just going to use the blocks to create a little bit more opening in the upper back, in the shoulders. So just bringing the hands onto the blocks and just allowing the head to fall through. If you don't have blocks, there's always no worries. With hands onto the mat, just resting in child's pose is all good. Of course, if you have a bolster, you can use the bolster here as well. And just letting go. And just understanding that however you feel right now, it's all good. Just allowing yourself to be. And lifting the gaze. Move the blocks or the bolster off of the side of the mat if you use them. Let's move forward. We'll step the feet back. And let's lower down again. You can drop to knees, chest, chin. Come through chaturanga onto your front. Let's bring the elbows onto the mat. Stacking the hands. Coming into half frog. So we're going to bring the right knee up. So it's in line with the right hip. Flexing the right ankle and just sinking those hips down. Just rest the chin on the hands. Or you can turn your head to the right to look in the direction of that knee. And bringing the chin back onto the hands. If you turn the head, we'll straighten that left leg back. And we're just going to do some cobra pulses, but keeping the hands underneath the chin. Inhale as we lift. Exhale, lowering down. Inhale, lifting. Strong through your legs, press the feet down. Exhale, lowering. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Two more. Inhale, lift. Look up, use the hands under the chin. Exhale, lower. Last one. Inhale. Exhale. And bringing that left knee up now, in line with the left hip. And again, flexing that left ankle now as we come into our half frog on the left side. And again, you could option to turn your head to the opposite side now. So gazing towards that left knee. Not gazing towards it, but just turning the head in the direction of the bent leg. And just release. Soften the glutes, soften the legs. Couple more breaths here. And straightening that left leg back now. Let's take a little bicep stretch. So we did this in our yin class. Let's take the right arm out. So it's in line with the shoulder. The easiest option is this one, so with the arm straight. Or you can bend the elbow 90 degrees and have that hand on the mat here. This is going to work into the biceps, working across the chest as well here. If it's too intense, again with the elbow bent, just straighten the arm. I'm going to bring the right hand by the chest and start keeping that left arm, the left shoulder pressing down, the right shoulder pressing down into the mat. We're going to start to rotate over. Maybe you're going to bring that right foot up and over onto the mat behind you. Just relax the head, the neck. Maybe you're feeling a twisting in the upper back as well here. A few more breaths. And exhale, releasing. And coming into the other side. So straighten that right arm out, or again, you're bending the elbow 90 degrees. Right hand is by your chest now, and we're pressing. So keep that shoulder down. Keep that left shoulder down. Again, maybe you're bringing that right foot over the top. And relax the head, relax the neck. And just breathe. Notice how you feel. Just a couple more breaths here. And exhale, releasing back onto our fronts. Bring the hands by the chest, or press back, and come into child's pose. And again, the knees could be together or wide. Deep breaths into the upper back, between the shoulder blades. Use that breath to expand your ribs. Use your exhale to release, to relax, to let go. And coming up onto our knees, we're just going to swing the legs around and making our way to a seated position. And bringing the bum into the center of your mat. Making your way onto your elbows and coming into reclined cobbler's pose, Supta Baddha Konasana. So soles of the feet together and just allow the knees to fall out to the side. If you have blocks, maybe you want to put some blocks underneath the thighs just to add a little bit of support for your legs here. And then you're coming all the way down onto your back. Bringing your hands onto your abdomen. And closing your eyes. And just noticing the abdomen rising and falling with the breath. The passive stretch in the hips. Allowing the face to be soft, the body to melt into your mat.
through the yoga practice, we work out that fine line between holding on and letting go, and knowing or understanding when we may need to do this in our daily lives. We can only know which option to take when we know ourselves completely, fully. And we can only know ourselves by accepting where we are and moving forward from that space. If we don't try to find this out, then we may become lazy, we may not be able to try, we may think that we can't do something when in reality it's quite within our reach. And on the other hand, we may think that we're able to do something. We may end up disappointed because it is far beyond our reach at the present time, or we may become injured because we push our body a little bit too far, a little bit too much. Knowing ourselves is so, so important. It's the fundamental practice of yoga. Only through ourselves, only through knowing ourselves can we truly understand others. Become focused on our own journey so that we're not judging others who are on their own journey. And we'll bring the hands to the outside of the thighs. Slowly, slowly, just helping those legs back together. Let's hook the knees into the chest. Give yourself a squeeze. We'll take the legs long and coming up onto our elbows. If you have a block or a bolster, maybe you want to put that block underneath the chest. This is a supported fish pose. So it's a nice heart opener. I'm just leaning back over that block, just feeling that release through the spine. Relaxing the head if it feels all good, or you can use a block, cushion, a bolster, and bring it underneath your head, just to provide a little bit of support for your head there. And just relax the arms. And I have my block on the side. If it's too high, just put the block flat. If it's too much, no worries. We can be on the elbows here. Just opening the chest. Again, always finding what feels comfortable for you. We'll stay here. About 5 more breaths. Keep those deep breaths going. one more breath. And exhaling, lifting the head. Moving up to seated. We'll remove those blocks from behind us. Let's bend the knees. And let's give ourselves a cuddle. And again, just acknowledging how you're feeling. And slowly, slowly, let's take those feet forward. And we'll come down to a lying down position. Let's just bring the knees, point them towards the ceiling. Tuck the tailbone under. I'll take the arms overhead. Just allow that upper body to melt. And let's give ourselves another squeeze. Let's hook the knees in. And let's pike the legs towards the ceiling. Taking the hands onto the mat. If it's a little bit uncomfortable here, just bring the hands underneath the buttocks or the forearms, underneath the sacrum, the hips. I'm just releasing any bad blood from the legs. I'm just giving the heart a rest. And again, we'll stay here another 5 breaths. Inhale. And exhale. Let's lower the right leg towards the mat. Inhale there. Exhale. Let's bring the right leg back up. Inhale. Let's send the left leg down. Exhale. Let's bring the left leg back up. Inhale. Send the right leg down. Exhale. Stay there. Inhale. Lower the left leg. And exhale. Releasing the hands from underneath the buttocks. And we'll come into Shavasana. If you want to grab your blanket now, just to seal in the energy of your practice, seal the heat. We'll grab a hoodie, grab a top, and we'll take up space with the arms when you're ready. Just draw the shoulders away from the ears. Maybe tuck in the shoulder blades under the back. The chest is open. A little tuck to the chin so the back of the neck is long. And releasing your Ujjayi breath as you surrender yourself to the earth. Closing your eyes. And as you're resting here, just knowing that right now you are enough. You are exactly where you need to be. The yoga practice helps us peel off those layers that we've placed on ourselves over the years. The identity of who we think we are. And it helps us come back to who we truly are, who we were before all these layers were placed upon us by ourselves, by society, by parents. When we start to peel those layers off, we release ourselves from the bondage of this material existence. Releasing ourselves from unnecessary desire. Can't get rid of the ego. I've heard a lot of times, a lot of teachers say yoga is about getting rid of the ego. The ego is important. We need ego. But it's about controlling the ego so it serves us. Serves us and society, our community in a good way. If we didn't have ego, we wouldn't be alive. The yoga practice helps us to understand when the ego has got a little bit inflated, we need to rein it in. And I think a nice way to notice when you've done the work with the ego is when you can laugh at yourself. When you can laugh at your idiosyncrasies and laugh at the aspects of your personality that maybe don't suit you very well or don't serve you very well. Be able to acknowledge those areas and say, yeah, so I do need to work harder there. To be humble. And when we don't get defensive, we take on advice, we take on criticism. Because in some way, this is what we're reflecting, this is what we're putting out to the world. So there's some truth in it, and we have to look at ourselves. We have to hold a mirror up to ourselves. We can always improve. We can always release more of those layers. aim is to just not be too hard on yourself. We are who we are because of our experiences. And we behave how we behave because of our experiences. And we can change our behavior very easily through that self-reflection. Let's take a deep inhale. And exhale the breath completely, connect the navel to the spine. Inhale the breath into your heart space. Fill your heart space with love, with acceptance. And exhale the breath into the fingertips and the toes. Start to wiggle the fingers and toes. And bringing movement back to your body. Life back to your being. To be reborn again after your practice. With a little bit more knowledge about ourselves. And therefore about others. Moving the limbs. And when you're ready, taking a deep stretch, arms overhead, feet together. Draw the knees into the chest, give yourself a squeeze. And as always, I'm just showing gratitude for who we are, for where we are, with all our flaws. We're all good. We're alive. Let's rock over to our right hand side. And join me again in a comfortable seated cross-legged position. Hopefully a little bit more open in those hips, the shoulders, and feeling a lot more relaxed and renewed in the body. Just bringing our hands onto our knees. Let's just come back to the breath. Just tuck the chin slightly. And before we finish, I'd like you to think of 3 things that you're grateful for. And we'll bring our hands into Anjali Mudra at our heart center. Let's finish with the sacred sound Om and 3 Shantis. Peace, peace, perfect peace. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale for Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hare Om. Raise your hands to your head for kindness in your thoughts to yourselves and to each other. Hands to your hearts for kindness in your actions, and to your lips for kindness in your words. From my heart to your heart, always. Namaste. And thank you for joining me this Friday for another yoga class live on YouTube with my cat in the room. He was messing around halfway through, but he settled back down on my blanket that I was going to use for my Shavasana, but he's decided it's
It's nice and comfortable in front of the heater. Yes, as always, please like the video if you liked the video. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And as always, if you wish to donate, I will add a link at the bottom of this video after the case, and you can leave a donation if you're financially stable enough to do so. As always, have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. No practice tomorrow. Saturday is always my day off from work and from my yoga practice as well. So I've done the same during these online classes. So I will be back with you on Sunday morning for a nice, gentle Sunday morning wake up yoga. So yeah, please join me then. As always, there's all the other videos that I've done, all the other live videos are available on my channel for you to watch anytime. And I will continue to bring these classes to you for the foreseeable future. So, so stay safe, stay well, practice yoga to help keep that immune system nice and strong. Eat healthy, eat plant-based if you can. Yeah, cut out that dairy, cut out any of those inflammatory foods, just to help keep your body in tip-top condition, and it will help us fight off these colds and flus and coronavirus as well. If you're in a healthy body, the chances of you fighting that off is a lot more. Well, you'll have a better chance at fighting it off. So yes, and that's it. I'll stop rambling on. I always like to have a little ramble on down at the end of the class, but I'll stop. I see some comments coming through. Adrian, oh wonderful, thank you, Adrian. Thank you, Sally. Lovely, and Harvey, thank you. Oh, wonderful. Yeah, I know a lot of you guys have said working from home has actually been a lot more harder than being in the office, because you tend to take less breaks and things like that and walk around less. So, so yeah, have a really, really good time off this weekend, and I shall see you, all being well, Sunday morning or on Instagram, Facebook, whatever. Thank you guys. Namaste, namaste, namaste.